As always, a great brand starts with a brilliant mind and an outstanding personality. Meet August Horch, the man behind the Audi brand. An iconic figure in the German automotive industry, the creator of Audi, a brilliant engineer whose brand survived 2 world wars. With a strong character and colossal diligence, he began his journey as a village boy and was able to forever change the world of the automotive industry by building his brand from scratch. August Horch was born on October 18, 1868, in the German village of Moseldorf, located near the town of Winningen. His father worked as a blacksmith, but August did not want to follow the footsteps of his father. From childhood, he was sure that a more exciting future awaited him. Nevertheless, Horch had to devote time to his father's forge. At the age of 13, he was forced to leave school to help his father feed his family. August not only fulfilled the orders of a few clients but also designed his own products, compensating for the lack of experience with a rich imagination and craving constant experimentation. It was in his father's forge that Horch created his first vehicle, a scooter. He could work for hours, turning ordinary sleds into the likeness of racing cars, forging skates of incredible designs, and dreaming that one day he would become famous and rich. At the age of 14, Horch felt the strength to start an independent life. He left his parents' home and went on a trip in the company of his best friend. August was overjoyed that he no longer had to deal with his father's business. Horch sincerely believed that from now on, he could devote all his time to inventing. Many years later, Horch described his journey as follows.
Together with my friend, we proudly marched into the unknown, like young kittens, tails up and not afraid of anything in the world. Most of all, I looked like a schoolboy, as I was no taller than a folding rain umbrella. But a romantic flame burned in me, and at the same time, I had an irresistible desire to become at least a skilled person in something.
Of course, the reality was significantly different from the naive plans of August. At the age of 16, Horch was forced to get a job at a train car building plant in Heidelberg, where he was engaged in more than a prosaic business. He pressed steel bandages onto the wheels with a sledgehammer. Obviously, such a person as August quickly got tired of waving a sledgehammer to press steel tires on the wheels. He quit and changed a few more jobs. Only at the age of 20, he finally got the opportunity to study seriously. In the autumn of 1888, having passed the exams, he entered the Technical Academy in Mittweida in Saxony. 20-year-old Horch was distinguished by a difficult character, but he quickly won the favor of teachers with perseverance and a responsible approach to learning. August's teachers noted that the talented student had a heightened sense of justice, was quick with his words, and could boldly defend his interests. After leaving the walls of the school with a diploma in mechanical engineering, August got a job as a department head at a foundry in Rostock. Horch later designed boat engines for a shipbuilding company in Leipzig. The young engineer liked his work, but deep down inside, he understood that he was in the wrong place and his life would soon change dramatically. August believed that fate would give him a sign and, indeed, the changes were about to happen. It was in Leipzig where August saw a Benz Velo in the street. Benz Velo was the world's first mass-produced four-wheeled car designed by Carl Benz. The car made a tremendous impression on August. In his memoirs, he wrote that he walked around the miracle of technology for a long time. Upon learning that miracle of engineering was produced by the companies of Carl Benz and Mannheim, Horch rushed home and wrote letters to the owners of the enterprises asking them to hire him. August tried to put his entire life path on paper. He spoke not only about professional experience but also about a burning desire to do something great, to radically change the existing world of the automotive industry. Benz was touched by the engineer's letter. The ambitious Horch got a job in his production. Delighted, August left the shipbuilding company without regret and went to Mannheim. Horch began his career under the wing of Carl Benz as an assistant to the head of the engine production department. August's sharp mind and a great desire to work helped him become the manager of the Benz business and the head of auto production. Horch liked to work for his patron as he called him Papa Benz. In the future, he repeatedly called the work with Carl Benz the best stage of his life. However, after some time working together, disagreements began to arise between the student and the teacher. A notorious conservative and opponent of experiments, Benz did not allow the young Horch to introduce innovative ideas into production. It was not easy for him to leave Benz's factory, where they first believed in him, but still, in the late 1890s, August Horch left the factory in Mannheim. Horch secured the financial support of a wealthy industrialist and, in 1899, founded in Ehrenfeld, near Cologne, his first company, A. Horch & Company. His dream came true. He could create without stubborn bosses and conservatives who were unable to see the benefits of progressive ideas. The company's staff initially consisted of 11 people. Nevertheless, in 1900, the first Horch car, Model 1, also called Phaeton, came out of the gates of the enterprise. Its two-cylinder engine with a capacity of 5 horsepower was distinguished by quiet and smooth work as the designer tried his best to surpass the teacher. The engine was located in the front, and the drive to the rear wheels was carried out by a leather belt. It had an open-body design, with lighting provided by lanterns containing candles. In contrast with the powerful cars of later years, the first Horch could barely reach a top speed of 32 km per hour. Inspired by his creative freedom, Horch generated more and more new ideas. In 1901, he patented an innovative fuel injection system, proved the need for a cylinder block, and launched the production of a transmission mechanism from a lighter metal. Horch was also the first to appreciate the advantages of a front-engine design, while big figures in the automotive market preferred a carriage design. August did not know how to stop there. Even his own developments after a while seemed to him imperfect, outdated. He was constantly in search of fresh ideas and ways to implement them. Thanks to his efforts, the development of the second model of the Horch car was completed in the summer of 1901. The Horch Model 2 was released with a drive shaft, with final drive gears made of chromium nickel steel. The two-cylinder engine developed 12 horsepower. Horch attracted a capable engineer, Fritz Seidel, to its creation. True, it was not possible to put the car into production at that time. Financial problems arose in the way of the genius August. The Horch factory was on the verge of ruin. Immersed in technical issues, August completely forgot about the material side of the business. Fortunately, the engineer managed to find sponsors, thanks to which the Horch factory was restarted in Reichenbach. August understood that there would be no second chance. Only innovations could keep the production afloat. In the fight against competitors, Horch used his favorite weapon, radical change. The idea of using chromium nickel steel not only made Horch's cars more reliable but also helped him acquire an ally and partner in the Bismarck Ironworks. Horch, meanwhile, was working on his next Model 3 with a 4-cylinder engine with a capacity of 20 horsepower. In 1903, the company moved for the second and last time, now to Zwickau. The plant produced the Horch Model 4 with a 4-cylinder engine with a working volume of 2,600 cubic centimeters and a power of 14 to 17 horsepower. The car fully met the requirements of the beginning of the century. It had dual ignition from a magneto and a battery, a 3-speed gearbox, and pneumatic tires. We must pay tribute to Horch. His designs can be called not just progressive, but rather bold. August was preoccupied not only with design. After previous financial issues, he methodically increased the company's capital, which in 2 years grew to 525,000 Reichsmarks. August Horch showed character here too. The plant had a severe system of fines. Any violation had its price. So, being late from 5 to 15 minutes cost 25 pfennigs, and up to half an hour, already 40. The working day at the plant lasted 10.5 hours. In 1904, August Horch developed the first 6-cylinder engine, which appeared in 1907. In 1906, a Horch automobile driven by Dr. Rudolf Stoss from Zwickau won the Herkimer competition. In 1906, cars from Zwickau were exhibited at the Berlin and Paris motor shows, and a year later, the first 6-cylinder Horch with an 8-liter engine with a capacity of 60 horsepower was presented. A large, luxuriously finished car was bought by the Sultan of the island of Java. Horch was one of those who perfectly understood the advertising value of motor racing. At the competition, the well-known German motorist Dr. Stoss and the designer himself sat behind the wheel of a car. When the ZD model appeared in 1906 with a 4-cylinder, 5,800 cubic centimeters, 40 horsepower engine, a sports torpedo body was built on its chassis. The car raced for the prize of Henry of Prussia, but, alas, unsuccessfully. This failure had serious consequences. It reinforced Horch's already accumulated disagreements with shareholders, who increasingly declared that his designs were adventurous and August was wasting money. The commercial director of production wrote that the reason for the drop in sales was that Horch's machines were of poor quality. Horch did not know how to compromise. And on June 19, 1909, the founder of the company was forced by creditors and stakeholders to leave it. The very next day, he firmly decided to open a new production facility under a new brand name. In 3 days, August collected 200,000 marks, and on July 16, 1909, less than a month after, Horch registered the company August Horch Automobilwerk. The enemies of August, having learned about Horch's new enterprise, sued him, intending to deprive him of the right to call the new machines by their own name. Unfortunately, the court was on the side of Horch's former partners, and he had to hastily select a new name for his company. In search of a sonorous name, the engineer turned to his friend Franz Feichenscher for help. While the men were discussing possible names, Franz's son was learning Latin. Having stumbled upon the phrase Audi et altera, which means listen to the other side, the boy suggested that August choose the word Audi. The name was not only sonorous but also symbolic, because the name of Horch, like Audi, literally translates as here. The specialists who had previously worked with August did not want to work for those who betrayed him. Almost the entire team left the previous company and continued Horch's work at Audi. The young inventor worked hard, which was a fundamental factor in the release of the first Audi A car in 1910. By next year, August will complete the development of the Audi B model. In 1911, as part of the last pre-war exhibition, Audi cars were presented to the public for the first time. The new cars not only won public approval but also won many victories at races and exhibitions. In the spring of 1913, Horch arrived in St. Petersburg, where a demonstration of the latest products in the automotive industry was held. The event was attended by the emperor. August later wrote that the Russian Tsar made an amazingly good impression. In 1912, August produced his most famous model, the Audi C. The model is immediately subjected to a serious test at the next races in the Alps and shows good results, for which the name Conqueror of the Alps has even stuck to the C series. The First World War dictated harsh conditions. Innovative ideas faded into the background. Audi, which received the status of a joint stock company in 1914, barely managed to cope with government orders. It was necessary to constantly increase production capacity by supplying cars and trucks for the war, as well as making grenades and mortars. In 1916, Audi began producing components for the first German tank, the A7V. Even in difficult times, his character did not allow August to completely abandon new developments. He joined the design team involved in improving tank technology. While the Germans were focused on the production of military equipment, the initiative in the production of civilian vehicles was completely seized by the Americans. In order not to give the German auto industry even a chance to recover and push America to the leadership position, the US government ordered Germany, which had lost the war, to pay a lot of reparations. August understood that under such conditions, he would no longer be able to develop as an independent inventor. In February 1920, Horch made a difficult decision. He left the board of Audi and went to Berlin, citing the fact that he no longer wanted to see Zwickau as his place of residence. In 1928, the German company DKW buys Audi, and Jürgen Skaft Rasmussen becomes the new owner of the automobile company. But the series of mergers and acquisitions in the history of Audi does not end there. 1932 brings the world an economic crisis, which forced a number of German companies to merge into the Auto Union concern, which included not only DKW and Wanderer but also former rival companies Horch and Audi. Four interlocking rings symbolized the merger of four automobile manufacturers based in the German state of Saxony. Audi, DKW, Horch, and Wanderer became Auto Union AG, then the second largest motor vehicle manufacturing group in Germany after Opel. And this was the moment when the famous four-circle Audi logo was born. However, at that moment, it belonged to Auto Union AG. As an interesting fact, the resemblance of the Auto Union's logo to the Olympic logo caused the World Olympic Committee to pursue Audi in World Trademark Court in 1995. Luckily, Audi won the lawsuit. The newly founded concern produces two cars with front-wheel drive and a Wanderer engine. Auto Union cars gain a good reputation and sell well until the outbreak of World War II. In 1933, August became a member of the board of the Auto Union concern. Being in the status of the main expert in the field of the German automotive industry, August analyzed the developments of a new generation of engineers. Horch also became interested in writing memoirs. As if trying to formulate the meaning of his life, he drew a peculiar line with these words:
"In my declining years, I can only feel joy. I did my thing. Thousands of cars were produced that bore my name. I'm not ashamed of their quality. They embodied the work of tens of thousands of workers and engineers."
The rise and outbreak of World War II encouraged the development and production of special vehicles for military purposes in the 1930s. Auto Union became an important supplier of vehicles for the German armed forces. After the outbreak of war, civilian production was interrupted in May 1940. After that, the company produced exclusively for military purposes. To produce Junkers aircraft engines under license, Auto Union established a subsidiary, the Middle German Engine Works in Toch, northeast of Leipzig, in 1935. During World War II, Auto Union/Horch supplied the chassis for the SD KFC.222 armored car. Powered by a 90-horsepower Horch V8 engine, it reached a top speed of 80 km per hour. All-wheel drive KFC-11, or Horch/Wanderer Type 901, was used as a medium transport vehicle for transporting German military officials. Horch Works also produced the Einheitsb KW der Wehrmacht heavy transport vehicle. From the beginning of 1944, the Auto Union factories, including Horch and Audi factories in Zwickau, were heavily bombed and severely damaged. The U.S. Army occupied Twickau on April 17, 1945, at the end of World War II. After the withdrawal of the U.S. Army on June 30 from Twickau, all the Saxon auto union factories ended up in the hands of the Red Army. The equipment of the plant was taken to the USSR and machines with the Horch worker marking worked properly for several decades at USSR factories. This was the end of Auto Union AG and the Audi brand. Specifically, the Audi brand perished to be reborn in 1965 to become the brand that we know today. But this is the story for our next video. Meanwhile, please rate our video, and if you liked it, don't forget to subscribe for the second part of Audi brand and other inspiring stories about brands and the outstanding personalities behind them.